far as like maybe you're losing the same player or same tactic or the same matchup? What do you kind of do? Like,
what do you do when you reach a plateau is the question.
From my personal opinion, it's honestly, you just really have to think outside the box. Like, sometimes there'll be matchups and play styles that take you out of your element as a player. Like he mentioned, like just now, like Flo, like him not being very good against the Bison matchup because he was playing too aggressive. So Justin taught him to play more patient. Like, and because Rufus is primarily a rushdown character, and we feel like Rufus does very well in the matchup, but he just is taken out of his element. So some matchups in fighting games and also some play styles, you have to alter the way you can play completely. And that's like my personal perspective on it. And like, if I think too many players focus on one set style and don't really explore their characters in the games and understanding players as a whole, like as well as they should. So that's one thing I suggest. And I'd like to hear Justin's opinion on that as well.
Do you have any piece of advice for someone who's hit a plateau and they're kind of stuck, not able to progress in skill level?
Well, like there's a lot of players that face the plateau and stuff, and to be honest, it's really hard to get out of it because when you're in a slump, then you're really in a slump. But a prime example of someone that worked really hard was like Filipino champ, like in Super Street Fighter 4, like he was really bad at the beginning, and like there was a time where he just kept losing to like KDZ, like pretty much like to players, Big Marcus, pretty much the players that don't really like play the game. They just play the game and just go to tournaments and stuff like that, and just enter Street Fighter for kicks.
right.
So like he'll just like not sleep. He'll call me at like 5 a.m. like, Jay, I can't sleep. I lost to this guy. I lost to this guy. You need to help me. Blah blah blah. You know, and then he'll just really study and look back, and you know, eventually you just kind of get it. Like he went from being that person to beating Daigo at a big major tournament, like winning first place. So, and beating Daigo twice, not once. So it's definitely like something that is, if you really want it, you have to really like struggle. It's like if you're working out and you do like one workout a week, that's not gonna do anything. You have to like do it consecutively. You have to like no pain, no gain, right? And it's just something that you just have to keep doing until you just figure it out. Like in Marvel 2, I got hit by Magneto triangle jump roundhouse like 100 times in a row. Eventually, you're just gonna stand up and block it. Like it just depends on the person's mindset, and it takes time for a person to understand. Okay, I could just do this to counter it, and then eventually you'll understand that situation. But then you will be put in another situation, and you have to just do rinse and repeat.
I think that was a really good explanation. I'm going to agree with both halves here on that. Do you have any other questions?
If you've been playing a character for a long time, how do you know personally when it's a good idea to kind of venture outside a little bit? Like, let's say, probably a bad example because I'm going to use Justin Wong, but he plays. You play Rufus. Okay, I love the way you play Rufus, but eventually you get to a point where, okay, you've been playing Rufus for so long. When do you kind of get to that point of, I'm going to try another character?
So, what you're asking, the question was, for anyone that didn't hear, once you have adapted and grown accustomed to a character, and that's your star character, when is appropriate to branch out? When do you start to add new characters to the roster? How do you know?
I'm actually in that situation right now. Shout out to Mike Ross and Diamond. So it really comes at a point to where you've put in a lot of time with your character. I say you should, before you even think about it, if you love the character and you feel comfortable with the character and you're still not doing well, chances are it's you as a player and not the character. But when you get to the highest levels of play, and sometimes if you're playing a player also of a similar skill level, things can become a problem. So once you understand the game at that level, you really have to think outside the box and be like, is it worth, especially a game like Street Fighter that's very matchup heavy. You have to think, is it worth playing this matchup in a 2 out of 3? So you have to think about, okay, what character suits my play style, or do I want to see, and also does that character do better against the characters you're having trouble with? And also, you can also think, do I want to build another skill set? Like, I'm really good at like characters that are like just really like simple about reading the other players, spacing, footsies. I'm not good with like a character that has like bad footsies, but is good with like mix-ups. So like I'm thinking, okay, I'll start playing Vega. Like I picked up Cammy, but I don't feel like she fits my style as much as Vega. Like, or you can find a tool and explore it, and just, it might be better than it really is. Like Justin with Rufus' Sweep. Like everybody probably thought that move was ass. sorry for breaking the PG code. Everyone thought that move was not good, and like that dude makes it look like bar off Sweep. And it's really just, so many people think their character's bad, but in reality, you can do a lot more with your character than you realize if you put in the work. Now it comes down to how much work do you want to put in. Like obviously, if you play Fei Wong, you're gonna put in a lot less work than you're gonna put in trying to win with like Oni, you know. But it doesn't mean that Oni can't do well. So it's really just, and also, how serious do you take the game? Are you trying to win major tournaments? Are you trying to be consistent? Are you trying to make money off of this? At the end of the day, you want to have fun. So you want to play a character that you enjoy. Don't sit there and play a character that's going to make the game miserable for you just because you want to like get a little bit higher on the bracket. Play what you enjoy, because if you don't play who you enjoy, at the end of the day, you're probably not going to do as good. So
That's very sound. We're going to hear from Justin, and then unfortunately the boys have to report to the game room. The good news is you guys can all follow with. I'm going to put them at stations, and if you line up neatly, you'll have some time. Line up nicely, everyone. You'll each get some time to sit down and ask more questions if you didn't get a chance here, and actually play with these guys tonight. Just some casual matches for 10, 15 minutes each, you know. We've got time, so we'll let Justin give his answer, and after that, I'd like to thank you for coming out. They will be here, a tournament competing both of them tomorrow, so I expect to see you all bright and early for breakfast, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, pretty much Jacob said everything perfectly about, you know, sticking true to your character, when to switch a character. But everyone's like different. Like for me, I always like to play like every character in the game. That's just, you just want to have a basic understanding of the character. And because, you know, like obviously now they have trial modes for all the characters. And because of that, you know, I'm going to try to do trial modes. I want to see what's their combo potential, what kind of buttons they have, and, you know, just everything. So doing that will determine if this character fits your style or whatnot. So that's what I used to do. So like, for example, like I like playing Rufus, not because like of the rushdown, but also like the sweep, like Jacob was saying. So I picked Balrog against Daigo in 2009 because the sweep was Goblin 2, and then I picked up Adon because I like this standing around some sweep. So it's pretty much like that to-go thing. So obviously Jacob's a Bison player, so he likes the footsie base, and Vega's very good at footsie base, but they both have really bad anti-air, so I guess they have something in common. But other than that, it's just pretty much like, if you enjoy the character that you want to play, you know, you don't have to like go pick top tier just to win, to prove a point. Like a perfect example is PR Rod, right? Like even though he switched to Fei Long, eventually he went back to Balrog. His Fei Long got bodied by Infiltration in the first game, but the reason why he beat Infiltration was because of Balrog, not because of Fei Long. So it's like, that first character that you bond with will always be like probably your best character regardless. Like even though like I can play Cammy well, I can play like Vortex characters well, but it's just when it comes down to it, I'm not confident picking that character in a 2 out of 3 set. You know, in casuals, playing online tournament, like that's fine. but you're always gonna stick to your guns.